These are 15 unstoppable tips for attacking cities in Total War Rome 2. The first tip is using towers as a shield. So as you see over here, you have 6 towers lined up next to each other, and we're using it as a shield against the possible slingers or archers on the wall. And you got to make sure you have 2 tower walls on both flanks, so on your left flank and your right flank, and this allows you to put your archers safely behind the towers and shoot inside the city. Usually you need up to 5 to 7 towers to make a proper wall, and you got to put it exactly at the edge. Tip number 2 is block the arrow tower from shooting your infantry. And how do you do that? You move a siege tower in front of the arrow tower. This way the arrow tower will have to focus on the siege tower, and this will only work for a limited amount of time, because eventually the tower will get 100% fire damage and then it will break down like you see over here. But this should give you more than enough time for your tortoises to break the wall and capture or neutralize the towers. Tip number 3 is to obviously put your artillery in the best possible position, and you can really easy and quickly decide that by looking for the biggest street from your attacking point and making sure you already got a great angle on those streets. This will make sure the defenders can't blob up with their archers to archer fight you guys, and that will make it a lot easier inside the city. And this way they have to put their reserves way back behind buildings so they don't get hit by the arty, and this is very annoying for the defenders because it will now take a lot of time to move up all the units to the right positions at the right time. Tip number 4 is making sure your team got at least 2 elite cavalry units. First of all, they're super important to counter enemy cavalry units and potentially sally outs, but they can be even more important late game. Eventually those gaps will appear, and potentially the enemy cavalry or your cavalry can make use of them by getting into the enemy back lines and getting some game-changing charges. You will see that very soon. I'm just using this battle as an example because this was an excellent tournament battle with 2 top-tier teams, because every tactic that you can use as an attacker has been used in this siege. Tip number 5 is a very smart way to get big and open breaches when you're attacking the wall. So how does it actually work? You basically move up the tortoises like usually, and you will have to hover over the wall that you're breaking, and that will show you how much damage you have done to the wall. And if the wall has taken 93% damage, you got to make sure to drop the tortoises and then move it out of sight. And this will take you a little bit of time, but once the tortoises are far away enough, you will have to break the last 7% of the wall with your artillery. And do this manually, so it only takes 2 shots to break it. And once you completed this, you will have a wide and open area without tortoises in front of the breaches that will block your cavalry chargers, that will absorb your archer ammo, your slinger ammo and your pila. And that's why you can see that I only brought slingers in this tournament battle, because I don't need to arc over the walls anymore, and my slingers can now just straight up melt them without any tortoises blocking it. And this is why the defenders team decided to fall back from this position. And that brings us to the next little tip, and that is always look for corners to crossfire. Like you see over here, there is just one tower in the middle and we broke everything around it. This allows us to get shots from every direction, and as you probably learned from my tips and tricks videos, is that shots in a non-shield side will absolutely destroy your enemy. Tip number 7 is, once you got the initial foothold, make sure to always push right. Just like in a maze, where you always have to take the first left entrance, in Total War Sieges you always have to turn right. This will make sure the enemy won't have any non-shield shots into your units, which are basically back shots, and this will keep your units safe. Tip number 8 is, slingers are stronger than you think, even on attack. First of all, they have way more ammo than an archer unit, and they have a lot more armor piercing, so you don't even need to get non-shield shots with your slingers. You can just dump them frontally and get a ton of kills. And what you see me doing is that I'm rotating my slinger units. Once they use 90% of their ammo, I use them defensively and move them to the left flank, so I can counter enemy archers. And that is exactly what happened. A defending archer unit was moving up to try and kill my slinger unit, but what he didn't know is that I had another slinger unit outside, positioned defensively and focused at this street. He did manage to get one shot into my slingers, but that cost him almost the whole archer unit. Slingers are literally becoming the new meta. For the next tip, if you look at the street where everyone is fighting at near the gate, you will see that everyone is in column formation, and everyone is always pushing the right half of the street and leaving the left half wide open. And why do we do that? Well, if you push the right side and the enemy decides to charge us in the left flank, the enemy units will be exposing their non-shield side. So my slingers and all of our archers and first spear units will get an insane amount of kills because of the great angle. The next tip is all about safely neutralizing the arrow towers and gates by putting a unit on the wall, but always put it on the left side of the arrow tower or the enemy gate. This will make sure they expose their shielded side to the enemy, so if you're getting shot like that, it's definitely not the end of the world. Because as you learned in the other videos, a quarter of the shots will hit the wall and a quarter of the shots will miss and fly over the wall. And that means half of the ammunition won't even hit the units, so that's absolutely worth it. Talking about putting units on the wall to neutralize it, if you want to do this faster, make sure to use ladders. Ladders will make sure your units will go way faster on the wall compared to siege towers. Here you will see the difference in this time lapse. It's quite a big difference. So you can also use ladders for surprise attacks. Tip number 12 is something that we did wrong in our attack. As you can see, we have this this massive brawl near the gate, and no one wants to give it up. If we just had a battering ram to break down the gate, so we could attack her from the gate, but only do that of course when it's neutral. But as you can see right now, it has always been neutral, and this would allow us to get more non-shoot shots with our slingers into the enemy. We could have done the same with this breach over here, but then I would have to bring my slingers really close to the front line to be in range, and that will put them in danger of the enemy archers. And if we attacked through the gate, our first spears and peltas would also be in range. So that would mean a ton of non-shoot fire potential that would absolutely devastate me. Tip number 13 is, when defender's ammo is running low, and that's most of the times towards late game, you can start attacking streets where you will expose your non-shield side, like I'm doing right here. Because there are two options. Or you need to know that all the defending archers are not anywhere near to be able to shoot you in the non-shield side, or you got to know that they're running low on ammo, because often when you attack streets that will expose your non-shield side, you will also have the chance to get some non-shield shots. So if you have more ammo compared to the defenders, the trade-off will be worth it. But you got to be very careful with this. Tip number 14 is something similar, but this is really towards the end game, and that is, as an attacker, you're way more compact compared to the defenders. As you can see, with all our units pretty much in the middle, and from there on we can attack left, middle, right side, whatever. Defenders, they will have to keep units on every street and on every flank, and this will leave the defenders really stretched thin. And once your enemy is really running low on units, you can hard push one street towards endgame, or you can start pushing all the streets and overwhelm them with fast and hard hitting units so that you can potentially break through one flank. And that's what we're doing right here. We're hard pushing this left flank, but if you play against very good players, they will somehow manage to stop you. But this is another very strong tip you can use. There we go. This brings us to the late game carry. As you can see, we as attackers got 2 elite carry units, and the defenders also got 2 elite carry units, but I got the strongest one, the Royal Cataphract. When you see a gap, you should definitely go for it. So I'm charging the enemy general, which is also super elite, but worse than me, and I'm absolutely destroying him. And here comes the second general, charging me in the back, but we're also melting that general over here. And there we go. I killed the general and I'm in the back, and this completely ends the battle. I got an insane back charge into this unit, and I got into a full archer unit with only 30 kills, and on top of that I even killed the Arverni general unit, which was an elite cavalry unit. Let's get this video to a ton of likes, then I will make sure the next one will be insane.